Imagine for a moment that you won a free trip to the International Space Station. What would you look forward to the most? Would it be the thrill of blasting off into space, floating in weightlessness, the chance at fame, or having your name in the history books? Or would it be something as simple as the opportunity to look out the window and take in the view? The crew of Expedition 42, who are preparing to launch in November, are ready to take in that view. The space station has a very, very big window. It's called the cupola, and it's actually a series of 7 windows, one of which, at 31 inches, is the largest window on any spacecraft. Astronaut Terry Virts knows all about that window. In 2010, he traveled to the International Space Station aboard Space Shuttle Endeavour for a 2-week stay when he actually installed the cupola. Now, he and his crewmates, Italian astronaut Samanta Cristoforetti and Russian cosmonaut Anton Shkaplerov, are preparing to go for a much longer stay, 6 months. WDRB spoke with them by phone in September about their upcoming trip. Here is what they had to say. Listeners should note that Anton spoke through an interpreter. Both his answer in Russian and the interpreted English answer are included. Terry, tell us about that moment when you finally arrived on the space station. Once you've wrapped up all of the checklists and all of the docking procedures, what's the first thing you're going to do?
The first thing I'm going to do in this station is float over to the cupola, open the windows, and look outside. I haven't seen out that thing for almost 5 years, so I'm going to want to take a look again. I was the first guy to look out of it, and so I want to go see what it's like.
Samantha, this is your first space flight. Terry and Anton have both been up before, but this is all new to you. Is there anything in particular that you're looking forward to the most?
I get that question a lot, but it's really hard to pick one thing and expect it to be way better than everything else. Because if you talk to people, they all talk about a lot of things being exciting. So for me, what's really interesting and I'm really looking forward to is the whole experience, like taking it all in, like being able to become a space human being for 6 months and turning yourself slowly. And again, it doesn't happen immediately. I mean, we train a lot, we know a lot, we're very prepared, but that does not mean that you will hit the ground running by no means. So it's really good that there is an experienced part of the crew on board, so Butch, Yelena, and Sasha, who are launching in a few days, actually. They will have been up there for a while when we join them. So it's really good that we have people that we can ask a bunch of questions in the first couple of weeks, and we will be asking a lot of questions. And so I'm just looking forward to that, day that I don't know what's going to happen after a month maybe or something like that, when I feel that, I'm starting to get a grasp of it. I know how to organize myself and my life and my tasks in this weightless environment. I have become an inhabitant of this place, which is our human outpost in space, and there is gorgeous aesthetic experience to it, of course. Looking out of the cupola, everybody says that it's just addictive, and this whole fun part of being of floating all day. But that is also a challenge, because if you float, it means that everything else also floats, and most likely it will float away into places that you will not, where you will not find it anymore. So it's a challenge to organize your life around this new situation of weightlessness, and so I just look forward to that process of personal growth.
Terry, I have to ask you a Kentucky question. I know your crew is coming back to Earth in early May of 2015. The Kentucky Derby is on May 2nd. Are any of you horse racing fans, and is there any chance you'll be watching the Derby from space?
If we're there, for sure I'll watch it, and I am a fan. I actually owned horses. When I was first married, my wife had a couple horses, so I was a horse owner, and our neighbors were from Kentucky, and when they were here, they would give us, and now they mail us Kentucky Derby glasses every year. So I've got a kitchen full of, each Kentucky Derby for the last several years. So yes, I am a fan of that, and I really enjoy it. The Secretariat is one of my favorite stories, and so that's interesting. I had not thought of the timing. I may be there for the Kentucky Derby, maybe not, but that would be cool.
Samantha, what personal items will you be taking with you to the space station? Are there any books, movies, or souvenirs that you're packing that have special significance to you?
Let's see, in terms of books, then I think I'll bring a few electronics books up there, not necessarily because I want to spend my time reading, but there might be some pages of books I like that I just want to have the pleasure of reading again while I'm looking at the Earth lying down. But I'm bringing in printed for sure. I've already packed a book by an Italian author, Italo Calvino. It's called Palomar. You might not know him. And it's I have it in a tiny, small edition where the book is actually really small and light, and it's a book that I particularly like. And the other one is Anton Shkaplerov. It's the same author. Most people know him as the author of The Little Prince. But the book I'm flying is actually called Pilote de Guerre, which translates literally as War Pilot, but I'm pretty sure in the US was published under another title, maybe Mission on Earth or something like that. So those two books are very important to me, and I'm bringing that in print. I also did something a little bit special and really meant as a gift for people when I come back, but I have selected a number of poems about, the marvel in front of the night sky, or exploration, discovery, the myth of Ulysses, all of that stuff that resonates with me and with the space mission. And I have put them together and printed them, or have them printed in one of those tiny mini books, the one that really are tiny, that will fit in the palm of your hands, and if you close your fist, you don't see them. And so I'm flying a bunch of those, and they're really meant as gifts for people when I come back.
Anton, speaking as a member of the Russian people, what does spaceflight mean to you, and what impact will it have on Russian youth?
Мой полет является продолжением изучения как Земли, так и космоса, изучением влияния космоса, в частности микрогравитации на организм человека, с тем, чтобы в будущем мы могли покинуть Солнечную систему и продолжать развитие, летать на планеты намного дальше, чем Солнце.
So my flight will be just the next step in the overall research of space and the Earth, and also the research on how the outer space and space in general affects the health of a human being. So this will be simply a part in that research to enable us later to fly to other planets, or at least beyond the near-Earth orbit.
Но что говоря о молодых людях, которых я хотел бы воодушевлять, то могу сказать, что, к примеру, не так давно мы праздновали 100-летие, как человек совершил первый полет на самолете. И в то время люди думали, что вот только какие-то суперлюди, какие-то физически здоровые, крепкие, сильные, мужественные могут летать на самолетах. Сейчас мы можем просто прийти в аэропорт и купить себе билет туда, куда мы хотим. И никто не спрашивает даже справку о состоянии нашего здоровья.
Answering the second part of your question, I can say to all the Russian young people the following thing. Recently we were celebrating a 100-year anniversary of the first flight on a plane by human beings. And now, 100 years later, we can simply go to the booking office and buy a ticket to any plane we want. So, and that happened relatively in a very short period of time. So, thinking about space exploration, we can, think about this example and think that maybe in future people will also be able to buy tickets to spacecraft and fly wherever they want.
Samantha, I'm told you're a wizard at social media. How do you plan to incorporate that into this mission?
Let's see, I'll definitely continue to be as present as I can possibly be on Twitter and on Google+, which are my main two platforms. We might decide that that's going to be with the support of the European Space Agency if we do that, to be present on Facebook, but I'm not sure about that yet. But, what my personal presence has been, and I want to continue it to be, it's definitely Google+ and Twitter. And what I have done for over a year now is to write a logbook. It started out as a daily logbook. It's slowed down a little bit right now to maybe 2-3 times a week, where I go pretty much in depth about what I do to train for this mission to the space station. You know, I want to be able to share this preparation. Again, going a little bit more into details than otherwise you would if you just would be tweeting or just relying on what the media is going to ask you. So hopefully on the space station, I mean, right now life is quite crazy, that's why I've slowed down the pace on that a little bit, but hopefully I can pick it up again. And my goal really is to go back to a daily logbook while I'm on board. I'm sure I'll skip a day or a day once in a while, but my goal is really to write a little bit every day of what's going on about my adaptation. A little bit describing that process that I told you about, and then of course just telling the story of what's going on out there.
Terry, do you ever worry about the inherent risks of spaceflight? How do you set those concerns aside and concentrate on the mission?
I don't worry about it. Maybe that's as a fighter pilot and a test pilot, it's not in my nature to worry about it. When I'm in meetings and when they're talking about, what spacecraft are we going to design next and that kind of thing, I'm more than happy to be vocal and tell them what I think. If something is based on keeping safety as an important factor in making a decision, or if other factors are making that decision, I'm always going to voice my opinion that they should be using safety as a decision criteria. But that's what you do before the mission. Once you get assigned to a flight and it's time to go fly, then you go fly. And I know all the people that run mission control and are the engineers on different vehicles, and I know the history that the Soyuz has had, so I have a lot of confidence in this. If I didn't, I just wouldn't fly on it. It's not, but that's not the case. I think we have a very, very safe record, especially with the, like I said, with the vehicles we have now. And yeah, being an astronaut is not the safest profession, but it's also, I think, worth it. If I didn't think it were worth it, I wouldn't do it. And I think the things that we're doing now have implications for, centuries in the future. And so, of course, there's going to be risks. And if you look back at the explorers that were discovering North America and South America and the islands in the Pacific, and I mean, good grief, those were bad odds back then. Or even in America, the people that went west and founded Louisville, that was not, there was nothing safe that could be, nothing about the word safe applied to what they were doing either. But I'm glad they did those things, or we wouldn't have the world that we have today. So sometimes you just have to see that there's a risk, acknowledge that you're going to take it, and then go take it.
Speaking from an American perspective for a moment, obviously one of the biggest announcements in the past couple of weeks has been the space taxi contract with Boeing and SpaceX, making it possible for those two private U.S. companies to begin manned space launches by 2017. Terry, what does this mean to you, knowing that the United States is getting back into the business of launching astronauts into space?
Yeah, the proudest moment of my life as an American was walking up to the space shuttle and just seeing this gigantic, beautiful spaceship sitting there that I knew was made in America, and the Americans have made this happen. It was just a really, really proud moment. So, maybe my next trip to the space station will be on one of those two capsules. We'll see. And actually, even closer to home than that, the spacewalks that we'll be doing will be preparing the station to accept these both of these capsules. So I'll actually have some work to do to get ready for that in the next few months.
Lastly, Terry, we want to know, what sets this crew, the crew of Expedition 42, apart from the rest?
I'm biased, but I think our crew is the best. We have just a great group of people with Samanta and Anton and our Soyuz. Samantha is an amazing person. She's just unbelievably smart. She speaks all these languages. Everything she does great. And Anton and I get along really well. All three of us are Air Force pilots, which is unique. And really, just as a whole crew, we get along very well. We complement each other, I think, with our abilities, and our personalities mesh well. And for 6 months, the psychological personality aspect of it is probably as important as anything. So I'm pretty hopeful that this crew is going to be just a great group of great group of folks to work together. But we definitely enjoy it. We enjoy the training, and I think we're going to enjoy being in space.
WDRB would like to say a special thanks to Terry, Samantha, and Anton for joining us in this interview, and we wish them a successful mission and a pleasant view from the window. Travis Kircher, WDRB News.